My name is Chelsea and I've been an Airbnb host since 2017.
El meu nom és Marc
Jo sóc la Gini.
i portem Airbnb des del 2013.
สวัสดีค่ะบัวค่ะ
สวัสดีครับโน้ตครับเราเป็น Airbnb ตั้งแต่ปี 2017 ครับผม
My name is Soraya.
My name is Fabi.
We've been Airbnb hosts since 2011.
My name is Mohammed and I've been an Airbnb host since 2015.
My name is Brian.
My name is Joe. We hosted our first guest in 2007.
And that was the beginning of Airbnb.
Nice.
Airbnb was born at an inflection point. There were a few big things happening in the world. We were in the Great Recession, and people needed new ways to earn and save money. Technology and social media were connecting people like never before, and millennials wanted a new way to travel. All these forces created a wave, and we rode that wave. But the story actually began before all of that. It was 2007. Joe and I were living together in this apartment on Rouse Street in San Francisco, and we had a problem to solve: how to pay our rent.
Turns out there was a design conference coming to town and hotels were totally sold out. So we thought, let's turn our apartment into a bed and breakfast.
We created airbedandbreakfast.com, hoping to rent airbeds to conference guests. People thought the idea sounded crazy. Who'd want to stay with strangers? Meet our first guest, Kat, Michael, and Amol.
I remember showing up at Joe and Brian's apartment and being welcomed in. They were great hosts. I mean, right away it felt like we had friends in San Francisco. Brian and Joe took us around and we got to see the city the way they do. I actually felt bad for everyone staying in a hotel. They even hosted us that night for an amazing rooftop party.
We treated our guests like old friends and showed them our hometown in a way they could have never experienced on their own.
We came as outsiders and we left feeling like locals.
So we made enough to pay the rent. And it got us thinking, maybe there's a bigger idea here. Maybe there's more people who want to travel this way and more people who want to host this way. And that's when Nate joined.
Our first big challenge was how to help strangers trust one another. We treated it as a design problem and created a system to unlock trust. It was built around hosting guest profiles, integrated messaging, secure payments, and two-way reviews. This helped build the trust that makes hosting possible.
Hosting has always been the foundation of the Airbnb experience. Joe and I were the first host. We made tools to allow anyone to become a host, which helped Airbnb grow from just the two of us to over 4 million hosts in 100,000 cities in nearly every corner of the world. We've welcomed 825 million guest arrivals since we started, and our hosts have earned $110 billion. And Airbnb is now used as a noun and a verb all over the world. Our hosts open the door to a world of experiences that travelers might not have had access to or even known about before. And their guests find a deeper connection to the places they visit and the people who live there. We didn't just create a company, we created a new category of travel. Today, the world is at a second, even bigger inflection point. It started because of the pandemic, but its effects will probably last a long time. Travel came to a stop, and the industry still hasn't recovered. Airbnb also took a painful hit at first, but our business has proven to be incredibly resilient because Airbnb is a platform designed to adapt as people's needs change. Even during a pandemic, people still want to go places, but they're staying nearby and they're staying longer. They're working from anywhere. They're studying far away from school. And thanks to the incredible variety of our hosts and listings, they can do all that with Airbnb. For more and more people, Airbnb is no longer an alternative way to travel. It's the default. So what makes all this possible? What makes Airbnb Airbnb? We believe we have 6 unique strengths. First are the 4 million hosts who define what it means to travel the Airbnb way. Our guests stay engaged and keep coming back. We have a brand recognized around the world. We have a global network of hosts that allow us to expand without local operations. We have a platform built to serve our unique needs. And finally, we have a design-driven approach to everything we do. It's pretty rare for a big company to be led by designers. But the result is a company full of creativity and curiosity that keeps coming up with unconventional ideas that capture people's imagination. Those are the unique strengths that make Airbnb, Airbnb. Let's take a closer look at the one that's at the heart of all of it, our hosts.
It just was second nature to me to be able to create a space that feels welcoming and inviting, but it's a whole other thing, being able to talk to your guests and get to know about them. And a lot of times they're really excited and they want to tell you about their trip. And Airbnb does help the world kind of open up to you. Like, hey, when I go to Italy or when I go to Germany or wherever, there will be people that you can reach out to and connect with. And I think that's really awesome.
What sets Airbnb apart more than anything else is our hosts. Having hosts who care, having hosts who connect, having hosts who are individual, regular people who want to be part of this story. That's what makes it so special. 90% of our community are individual hosts, 55% are women, and 86% are outside the US. And hosting makes a difference to their lives. Half say Airbnb earnings help them stay in their home.
Look at that. Now you see, that makes all the difference.
We believe the majority of their listings are only on Airbnb, and that our hosts offer more unique homes than any other platform. Everything from Airstreams to castles, from budget stays to dream houses, for one night or months at a time. They even share passions like cooking and surfing through Airbnb experiences. They become hosts to make extra money, meet new people, and connect guests to the communities they call home. So how do we attract hosts? Many come to us directly on the strength of our brand and by word of mouth. And a lot of our guests become hosts after experiencing Airbnb for themselves. New hosts can list their space in minutes and start welcoming guests the very next day. Many see results almost immediately. In 2019, half of active listings new to the platform were booked in the first 4 days they became available. And we continue to support hosts with everything they need to deliver the Airbnb experience. We teach them the craft of quality hospitality and give them helpful insights. And we celebrate those who go above and beyond with our Superhost program. We continue to invest in our hosts with tools, training, and incentives, helping create a strong, growing, and loyal community whose success fuels our own.
I think I've actually traveled more during the pandemic. But locally. I trust Airbnb because I know they have systems in place to protect the guests. And when I stay at Airbnb homes, my heart feels more open because I feel like I'm part of the community, and that's important to me.
Just like our hosts, Airbnb's guests also come from all walks of life and from just about every culture and place you can imagine. They're students, retirees, and everything in between. They go everywhere from big cities to remote hideaways. And what they share is a curiosity and open-mindedness about the world. And again, just like hosts, there are a lot of them. In 2019, 54 million active bookers worldwide booked 327 million nights and experiences. So why would a guest choose Airbnb? To be in real neighborhoods and to live like a local. To stay in unique spaces and feel at home because it is someone's home. To take any kind of trip, alone or together, for a night or for a month, and to discover new skills and passions. To get more for their money versus the average hotel, and ultimately to feel hosted and get a deeper connection to the places they visit. Growing our community of guests starts with attracting new ones to the platform, and that starts with a globally recognized brand. How strong is our brand? Well, here's one way to measure it. In 2019, 77% of traffic to Airbnb was direct and unpaid. After COVID hit, we cut our marketing spend, and for Q3 of this year, that number was 93%. But by September, total direct and unpaid traffic had increased year over year. People come to us because of the strength of our brand, and we convert that traffic with a product that set the standard for this category. And once someone becomes an Airbnb guest, they stay engaged. Over 68% of guests left reviews last year, and 83% of those were 5 stars, which translates into repeat bookings. In 2019, 69% of our revenue was from repeat guests. So, how do we bring together our hosts and guests? Well, like everything else at Airbnb, it starts with design. We designed our product to make it easy for hosts to create and manage listings, and for guests to discover and book them, and for both to connect with confidence. So, let's take a look at how it works.
When someone decides to host, they can join our platform in just a few minutes. First, they bring the listing to life by adding photography. Then they include all the details that we know guests will love. Pricing is simple, and our tools suggest changes when there's high or low demand. Our calendar makes it easy to control when and how often they'll host. And we help them get their first booking by suggesting incentives to attract potential guests. So now the listing is up and ready for guests.
Now, imagine you're a guest looking for a great place to stay. You start by browsing the homepage for ideas. Or, if you know where you want to go, just add the location and dates. Scroll down the page for all the listings, or quickly scan the map and find the ideal location. These listing pages are full of great photos and designed to highlight essential info, like details about the space and reviews from other guests. And if you have questions, you can send a quick message to the host. And if you want to keep searching, just save it to a wish list. You can also share a listing right from the app. When you're ready to book, just a few taps and you're good to go. Now, before your trip, we send you useful info like a map and check-in details, and your host will be happy to share suggestions for where to go and what to do. Even if your host isn't there to greet you, they'll make you feel right at home. When the trip's all done, it's easy to rate and review the place, which is super helpful for future guests and for Airbnb too. And that's it. It's that easy for millions to open their doors to the world and for millions more to explore it.
Questo è un luogo dove noi abitiamo, è un luogo dove lavoriamo. Io sono un host su Airbnb perché mi interessa ospitare persone che fossero interessate a fare un'esperienza di una familiare. Quindi un modo di viaggiare dove la cosa più importante è quella di conoscere le persone e le culture dove si va appunto a viaggiare.
First and foremost, it is incredibly important that you come in and you listen. Every city in the world is really different. Airbnb only succeeds if our hosts do well. Our hosts only do well if guests do well. And guests only do well if communities do well. And that meant that we needed to work with them in an individual way to address their specific needs, which has made all the difference in our relationships with cities. It's a big reason why we started in one city and are now in 100,000 cities in more than 220 countries and regions around the world. Our network is growing more global and more diverse every day, and more distributed too. In 2019, more than 350 cities worldwide welcomed over 100,000 Airbnb guest arrivals. We seek to strengthen the communities we operate in, which starts with being a good, proactive partner. We built tools to give communities access to our data and committed to paying our community's fair share of taxes. Each individual community has a different history, a different culture, and a different economy. So we forged hundreds of partnerships with communities big and small all around the world. We also strive to be a platform solution to human problems, offering support to communities in times of need. To date, we've housed more than 75,000 natural disaster victims, refugees, and most recently, frontline responders during the pandemic. Airbnb is a powerful source of economic empowerment for our hosts and stimulus for the places where they live. Based on a survey we conducted in 30 countries and regions, our direct economic impact from host earnings and guest spending was close to $117 billion in 2018 alone, which is meaningful revenue in cities of all sizes. We're dedicated to ensuring that our impact on each one is positive and that we're helping all of them thrive.
Anytime you're having someone new come to your house, there's always a little element of the trust isn't there yet. You're not really sure about the person. What are they going to be like?
But as soon as I booked, I got a message from the host, and it was a very casual, fun conversation. So the messaging feature on the Airbnb app really made it feel straightforward and personal.
And I think the reviews for guests and the reviews for hosts too are super helpful. They're honest, they're genuine, they provide feedback. It's been a breeze, especially in terms of trust in the platform.
Because of Airbnb's website format, we could tick those boxes, we could select our price range, and it was so easy to find something that worked for everyone. Using Airbnb to book was the easiest part of the process.
Airbnb is a highly global and diverse marketplace. We've built unique capabilities and a powerful platform to support millions of hosts and guests in many different countries, languages, and currencies. We've built a system that enables trust through two-way reviews, secure messaging, detailed profiles, and an array of host and guest protections. We also defend trust by identifying users, preventing fraud and abuse, and investing in privacy and anti-discrimination. We have a payment platform that can process 100% of payments between guests and hosts. Finally, community support is there to resolve problems that could come up before, during, and after the millions of stays and experiences that happen on Airbnb every day.
Making something simple is actually incredibly hard work. You want something that's characteristically Airbnb, that captures Airbnb, yet is incredibly intuitive for people to use no matter where they're from. Airbnb makes it easy for everyday people to become entrepreneurs in a global marketplace. It takes powerful technology to do that. To enable hosts around the world, we employ predictive analytics and sophisticated machine learning to power our payments network, community support, trust and safety technologies, and the system that manages millions of diverse listings. Airbnb's products have to feel just as local and intuitive in Bangkok as they do in Boise. They also need to support the large number of use cases on our platform. So we take a smart, design-driven approach to product development, combined with deep insights from our community and advanced technology. The result is a suite of products that capture the essence of Airbnb: simple, elegant, and usable in a scalable way.
Airbnb has been a magical experience in the sense that when I first moved into my home, it was just a shell. But with all the visitors, with all the investments that I was able to make, it became a shelter. Airbnb has empowered me financially, given me a wall of friendship that's growing, and made me a bigger human being. I'm just 5 feet tall, but I feel like I'm 6 feet big.
So far, you've heard how Airbnb has built a strong business positioned for a bright future. 5 key financial strengths have been core to our success: a substantial market opportunity, significant scale with strong growth, a loyal community with the ability to attract hosts and guests, a resilient business model that's proven itself during the COVID crisis, and a flexible cost structure with a demonstrated ability to expand our margins. Let's start with our market opportunity. We believe our market opportunity is extremely large, and we view that opportunity over 2 distinct time periods: It's our SAM, or serviceable addressable market, which we believe we can address today. And it is our TAM, or total addressable market, which we believe we can address over the long term. We estimate that our SAM is at $1.5 trillion, and our TAM is $3.4 trillion. This includes our opportunity across short-term stays, long-term stays, tourist and non-tourist recreational spend. Now, meeting that opportunity starts with our demonstrated ability to reach significant scale while maintaining strong growth. And one metric that shows this is our nights and experiences booked, representing the total number of nights booked for stays and seats booked for experiences, net of cancellations or alterations. Growth has been historically steady over time, climbing to $327 million in 2019, a 31% increase over 2018. And in addition to growth, we also show strong global diversification. Of the 327 million nights and experiences booked in 2019, over 70% were outside of North America, as was almost 60% of our gross booking value, or GBV, which represents the total dollar value of bookings on our platform, net of cancellations. Last year, we generated $38 billion in GBV, a year-over-year increase of 29%, and we collect service fees from hosts and guests as a portion of the GBV. This generated $4.8 billion of revenue in 2019, a 32% increase year-over-year. And our revenue is distributed across 220 countries and regions, with no one city representing more than 2.5% of our revenue in 2019. Our business model relies on the continued success of our hosts and the repeat bookings of our guests. In 2019, 69% of our revenue was from repeat guests, and 84% of our revenue came from existing hosts, demonstrating strong retention and recurring revenue. Our model has proven its ability to adapt to the changing nature of travel, both during the COVID crisis and beyond it. Now, when COVID hit, our business declined substantially, just like the rest of the industry. But then in just 3 months, GBV recovered to nearly 2019 levels. Even in the midst of a slowdown, people started using Airbnb again because they still want to travel. They're just traveling differently. They're taking trips closer to home and staying longer. It's proof of the inherent adaptability of Airbnb and our ability to deliver on the needs of an ever-changing world. Our model's not only resilient, but it has the potential to generate attractive margins. We've historically shown the ability to expand both free cash flow and adjusted EBITDA margins over time while achieving strong revenue growth. In 2019, we made substantial investments in our product and technology platforms and increased the rate of marketing spend to support new products. Even in an investment year, we were cash flow positive. From 2011 through 2019, we had generated $520 million of cumulative free cash flow. In 2020, we began to experience the impact of COVID in the middle of the first quarter. In Q1, our revenue was flat with the first quarter of 2019. In Q2, revenue fell by more than 70% year over year as COVID led to a significant decline in bookings combined with a high rate of cancellations. In Q3, we saw a rebound in our business. Revenue was over $1.3 billion for the quarter and was down less than 20% year over year. In addition to the rebound in our revenue, during 2020, we made substantial reductions in both fixed and variable costs in response to the crisis. While adjusted EBITDA and free cash flow in Q1 and Q2 were negatively impacted by COVID, our cost reduction efforts, combined with typical seasonal trends, led to significantly higher levels of adjusted EBITDA and free cash flow in Q3 compared to 2019. The third quarter of 2020 represented the highest quarterly adjusted EBITDA and free cash flow in our history. We believe the actions we took during the year will result in a more efficient cost structure going forward and improve the strength of our business long term. During the fourth quarter of 2020, another wave of COVID infections emerged. As a result, we expect greater year-over-year declines in our business than in the third quarter, and we expect continued volatility in our trends due to the ongoing impact from COVID. Over the long term, we believe we can reach an adjusted EBITDA margin of more than 30%, and we have a number of ways by which we can achieve this result. We can continue to make material progress with our variable cost efficiency, greater marketing efficiency, and fixed cost leverage. Monetization also provides an opportunity for further margin expansion. Airbnb is truly a once-in-a-generation business, and we believe our key financial strengths position us for a successful future.
traveling is education outside of the classroom. It's enlightenment, it's discovery, it's excitement.
I'm envisioning a future where people learn to love learning about other people. And I think Airbnb is very conducive to that vision.
I think for me, the ultimate kind of lifestyle would be to have a couple of Airbnbs, a couple of different spaces, and just have all of those guests and all of those people coming through, visiting, learning about the city, sharing South Africa, and sharing my experiences with them.
Estoy acostumbrada a viajar, de nuevo lo hago desde muy chica y a los que nos gusta viajar, nos gusta conocer lugares nuevos, gente nueva, tener experiencias nuevas. Creo que eso va muy de la mano con el estilo de Airbnb.
Watching Airbnb grow has been an amazing experience for me, and we are just starting to scratch the surface when it comes to connecting people all around the world. It has so much potential.
Sitting here today, it's pretty amazing to think about where this journey has taken us. And it's kind of humbling too. We never could have imagined what Airbnb would become back in 2007 and 2008, and what we and the whole world would face in 2020. It's been a hard year, but when you go through a trial by fire, it takes you back to what's important. We're a more focused company now, and in many ways, it's just like the early days all over again. And we're just as excited today as we were then to embrace the opportunities ahead and keep finding new ways to connect people. Because that is what Airbnb is all about. This company succeeded for a lot of reasons, the most important being the idea that started it. Everyday people sharing their slice of the world. It tapped into something deeply human, the need to connect. How people feel that need will keep changing, but the need itself will never go away. As long as there's a world to discover, human beings will keep discovering it. And our goal is to make sure that for every single one, there's someone there to turn a place they've never been before into a place where they belong.